Assalamu Alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba. And if you're a returning subscriber, jazakumullahu khairan for always watching my videos. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this place of benefit to us bi-iznillahi ta'ala. And if you're new here, don't forget to use the subscribe button. Use it now. I'm actually happy to have you here. And yeah, I hope we can be besties, inshallah. Another day to explain myself as to the reason why I've been off on here. But yeah, it's the reason why I said I was going to put out this video regardless how bad the lighting is going to be, because I have been procrastinating putting out a video on here. Like, I set out to do it and then I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to put it out on the other platforms, either Instagram or TikTok. So if you haven't been following me on those platforms, go ahead and click the follow buttons now, and hopefully you can continue to get reminded bi-iznillahi ta'ala by my videos. Yeah, so we're back here, inshallah. We are trying as much as possible to be as consistent with the reminders that we put out, inshallah. So hopefully I'm able to do so. Make dua for me, like put me in your du'as and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant me tawfiq in doing this. For me, it's beyond honestly content creating. It is, like I said, reminders. I'm genuinely working for my Jannah. So yeah, imagine not being consistent at it. It just makes me feel sad, but I'll do better, inshallah. We'll get used to the space as well, inshallah. So as you can see from the title of the video, I did experience Islamophobia. Hello, I'm saying that newsflash as though it's something that I've never experienced before, but yeah, it's sad because we're in 2025 and we continue to experience these things. For me, like when I made up my mind to start putting out videos on social media, I already said to myself I was not going to engage in back-to-back with ignorant people. I was not going to engage with ignorant people at all. I knew that it was going to happen, but I didn't think that it was going to happen this soon. So subhanallah, like I put out a video on TikTok, and weirdly I decided that day that I was actually going to put the video on TikTok solely. And oh my goodness, people are ignorant, subhanallah. And as much as I want to pretend that Islamophobia does not exist in 2025, it's not working. If you were even attempting it, there's some people who are Islamophobes, but they are silent ones, right? And again, it's very important for me to mention that, you guys bear with me with this lighting that I have around me. I know that it's not working, but let's get this video out there so that we can get things rolling on here, inshallah. But yeah, a lot of times people like to pretend that these things don't exist, or they like to be silent about it or quiet about it or do it in a subtle manner. But hello, it's 2025 where things are supposed to be progressing, minds are supposed to be progressing, people are supposed to be better. But Islamophobia is very much out there, and now I don't even honestly think that people are hiding anymore. Maybe many of us want to be in denial and tell ourselves that these things don't exist, or we don't like because we don't like to feel like victims, right? But these things exist. They're very much out there. Under this video there was just a lot of go back to your country, subhanallah, like go and practice Islam in your country, leave our country alone, like a lot of crazy things that were said. To be honest, I can't even remember. Again, I don't honestly give my time to things like this. And as I was reading them, I was swiping. Subhanallah, Allah actually blessed me with some really mashallah Muslims who were so determined to educate these people. And in my mind I was like, maybe not, because like when you see an ignorant person, you can actually tell that this person is actually ignorant from the way that they would. It's not even just ignorance, because I mean some people are genuinely ignorant. It is the lack of adab that comes with it, the kind of words that they use, the way that they phrase the things that they want to say. You can tell that this person is actually not the person to engage with. But there were some mashallah sisters and brothers who were so determined to educate these people, and yeah, maybe that's their own form of doing da'wah. I just want to say honestly here that I really do appreciate those sisters and brothers who took the time, but honestly it's not worth because at the end of the day, with some, I saw that, you know, they started off well trying to educate other people, and then these people just succeeded in luring them to a nasty corner where you now begin to exchange words, because they go really crazy. You know, it's just anything that has to do with targeting Muslims, anything that has to do with just Islamophobia as it is, we are going to do but read, but go and actually try to seek knowledge about this religion. And to be honest, I feel like me, if I genuinely want to say something about somebody else's religion, I would at least educate myself. We're in 2025 where you can easily just, you know, the resources are out there. You can grab a book, you can, you know, watch a video on social media, like something that can actually help you understand, you know, this particular faith or this particular group of people. But no, let's single out Muslims. It was not about, honestly, just going back to your country, because at the end of the day, which is actually the reason why I'm making this video, is when I sat and actually thought about it, I said to myself, what about people who were actually born here and who have chosen to be Muslims? What do you want to do to those people in cases like this? You know, I feel like we all are not safe, regardless of whether you are from here or you're not from here. So at the end of the day, it's not about geography, it's actually about, you know, singling out people because they practice a certain faith. And I think that is actually sad. So yeah, I have actually come to the conclusion that we can be doing our own things and, you know, living quietly and just being so peaceful and happy in our own homes or whatever, and people will still lash out just because you are Muslim. It's enough for them actually. They'll still lash out at you, they still come at you because you are Muslim. And it's just sad what these things actually do to us as Muslims. Recently I had a very human interaction, human experience that shouldn't even be a problem. You know, I was walking down the street and some young girls were just shouting, hey, excuse me, hey, excuse me. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do this today. You know, although I thought at the back of my mind they wanted to do something funny, or they wanted to say something funny, because this is something that you experience again and again when you are in places like this. And subhanallah, it was just that they actually wanted to ask me for the time, and I just smiled afterwards when I responded to them. They're like, hello, please, what's the time? And I was like, ah, you were shouting because you wanted to ask me for the time, and this shouldn't actually be an issue, right? It's such a very basic human experience, but because of the build up till this moment, for me it's just, I'm going out, I want to avoid every crazy interaction. I just want to go out peacefully and come back home peacefully. Subhanallah, it is actually stripped of humanity in a way, community in a way, communal living in a way, and it's just sad, you know, what is actually happening. Like I said, I have always said I'm not going to give life to hate, whether here on YouTube, anywhere. It's not just my thing to focus on things that I'm not meant to focus on. Eyes on the goal. It's beyond here for me. It's all the way till Jannah bi-iznillahi ta'ala. So till now, I didn't say a word, and I don't intend to be doing that, you know, even moving forward. But I just feel like sometimes silence actually means acceptance, and this is something that we all need to give our voices to. Islamophobia does exist, is existing. Some people are confidently, you know, out there promoting violence and harmful things against, you know, Muslims just because what. And when I look back at the video, I'm just like, what exactly did I say in this video that triggered you? All I said was, leave me alone, leave my veil alone. Like, why is a piece of scarf on my head, why is this such a threat to you? But yeah, it was more like they were looking for an avenue to say all sort of things. To be honest, if you know me in the real life, you know that these things don't, man, I get really sad when, of course, people are affected in such a very violent and harmful way, you know. And in my dua that I want to say, okay, things will get better, you know, as we progress in life, but it just doesn't look like it. I just feel like the world is wilding, you know, and till the end of time things are not going to get better, because if we're in 2025 where people can easily just grab a book, people can try to understand or even tolerate people, and they're not doing that, when do you think that things will actually get better? But how also do we get to live with harmful and violent people, you know, and bullies online, who are just waiting for you to show up with a scarf on your head, or who are waiting for you to say, you know what, I'm Muslim? Like I said, we'll continue to give our voices to this. I wouldn't give life to hate. However, I wouldn't also keep quiet. I wouldn't keep silence, because these things actually do exist. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen us, because hello, just in case you think that I'm going to stop putting out reminders out there, or you think that I'm going to start talking about Islam or my beloved Prophet or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, well, you must be Delulu. Because this is just the beginning. I am going to be out there on as many platforms that I can, inshallah, talking about the deen. You are free as well to go ahead and talk about your religion, whatever it is that you believe in. I do have non-Muslim friends, and I just don't approach them with, oh, your religion is this, your religion is that, go back to your country. I don't do that. If anything, I'm going to try as much as possible to learn about whatever it is that I want to ask them about. Then we can have a conversation, a very civil one at that. You decide not to be civil, okay, all the best. Your life, continue to be living a very miserable life, but I won't engage you. Sounding as though I was talking to one of them, but who knows, maybe one of them might actually be watching the video. I just pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen us all as Muslims, because man, holding on to the thing is literally feeling like hot coal, like the Prophet peace be upon him said. But again, one thing that I hold on to every now and then is that we're strangers on here. The Prophet peace be upon him already said it. We're strangers and we're going to leave as strangers. So the end of that statement is the most beautiful part, where the Prophet peace be upon him says, and give glad tidings to the strangers. So for sisters who are constantly trying to fit in, I see a lot of times where people, you know, in a way to try to deal with all of this backlash and, you know, the way that people see Muslims, they try to tweak their look, they try to sound a type of way, they try to please these people, but they're never going to accept you, so you might as well go back to pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I understand that can be really difficult. I've lived on both sides, so I know that it can be really difficult, but at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to be with us and will continue to reward us for, you know, all of these things that we're actually going through, because in a way there are struggles, of course, and there are also trials that, if we're able to pass, would inshallah weigh heavy on our scale of deeds. Lastly, I'd like to mention that you're not alone. Whatever it is that you're going through, whether at your workspace, that one is even very brutal, because people are looking at you and they're smiling at you and they're thinking, wow, they love me, or they don't mind. But subhanallah, they're also there behind, plotting and doing all sorts of things. So whether at your workplaces, whether, you know, whatever, on the road, wherever it is that you get to encounter these things, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to protect you and to continue to guide us all, you know, in this world, very temporary world that we live in. So yeah, back to YouTube, but came rambling. Inshallah, I try as much as possible to get better light, because what is this? What am I doing? But yeah, back to YouTube, inshallah, and I'll see you guys soon. Jazakumullahu khairan for watching till the end, and if you have not subscribed, I'm closing my eyes for you. Please do so now, and inshallah I'll see you guys in my next video. Assalamu Alaikum.